Hello, dear viewer, and welcome to another episode of the Catholic League Forum. I'm Director of Communications, Mike McDonald of the Catholic League, and this is President and CEO of the Catholic League, Bill Donohue. Today we've got a couple of big topics that we covered this week, and starting off with Bill, probably the big ceremony event in the room would have to be Biden's first year in office, and we did a lot on that this week.
We did, and it's a tribute to you and the other guys on the staff that you put together the report that I asked for. I write the narrative on that, but you guys did the homework on it. That's Don Lauer, and we have Nick here, our Polish young man who knows how to do all the tech work. And Bernadette Brady, of course, the vice president, always plays a role in everything. We don't have any interest in rating Biden on the economy and climate change and things of that nature, foreign policy. That's for somebody else to do. Our interest is basically the life issues and religious liberty. And quite frankly, on that score, he didn't do well. The three reports, one of them, it's up on our website, deals with his first day in office. We compared him to President Trump. Trump had one executive order his first day. As you know, Biden had 19. None of them touched on religious liberty except to be against it. It's rather interesting. We also had a lengthy report on comparing him and Trump on religious liberty. Now, Biden is the, quote, devout Catholic. Trump has never been regarded as a, quote, religious man, yet that may be true in his personal life, I don't know. But in terms of his public policy, there's no president that I've ever seen who did more for religious liberty than Donald Trump. And Joe Biden has gone just the opposite way with the Equality Act and everything else that he wants to get passed. And then the third one was on looking at how he's changed the policies on religious liberty, reversing Trump, and the like. It's astonishing. His commitment to abortion is absolutely rabid, and then you take a look on the religious liberty end, he doesn't do particularly well. So we've got that up there as well.
Yeah. So, dear viewer, if you are interested in any of these, be sure to check in the link below. We'll have a description of some of the more salient points. The report on the executive orders, compare and contrast how Biden just immediately went full-throated for the transgender ideology nonsense. We had the report on everything that Trump did to advance religious liberty and how Biden has reversed that in a year, and then Biden's just departures from Catholic teaching. So be sure to check all those out. And if you're enjoying these videos, please make sure to click the like button and subscribe. That greatly helps us get the message out there to other people. But Bill, we didn't just focus on Biden this weekend. That was a lot right there in and of itself. But as always, we're very busy. And very interesting, we dealt with diversity, or lack thereof, with NBC and the Boston flag case that's before the Supreme Court. Can you talk us through this?
You know, it's like a mantra. People don't even have to think anymore. I don't think you can get a job in a corporation, certainly not in a college or university, without using the mantra diversity inclusion. But nobody even thinks about what it means. At SNL, they attacked Catholic priests last week. They do that all the time. They're all molesters. We know that. That's what they do there. They don't say that. They don't talk about blacks or Jews or Muslims or gays or any other group that you can stereotype. Hispanics, Asians. You go right down the line. We all know what's said about them, right? But they say they believe in diversity at NBC. NBC owns SNL. We looked at their diversity and inclusion and equity statement. It doesn't cover religion.
No.
And there's a reason for that. They've got an animus against religion and particularly against Catholicism. That explains their behavior. On the Boston flag case, this is going to come up for a ruling in the Supreme Court probably in June. For those who are not familiar with it, the Supreme Court heard oral argument this week. Basically, the case comes down to this. They were outside the City Hall in Boston. You can fly a flag, the flagpole. They have had 284 requests, never turned down anybody. Right. Gay pride parade and stuff like that. Most of them are flags of nations, Cuba, Peru, whatever it might be. They don't have any problem putting up Communist China, their flag or anybody else's. One guy came along with a Christian flag, not particularly familiar with that ourselves, but it's got a Latin cross. Okay. They say no. Why do you say no to him but yes to everybody else? It's before the courts. They tried to make the argument the First Amendment Establishment Clause doesn't allow it. In fact, it does, but that's why they even Justice Kagan, as well as Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, kind of ripped into the attorney for Boston on that. That's simply a ruse. It seems to us, Mike, that what's really driving this is the fact that Catholics are not included in their statement on inclusion and diversity. Because, as Justice Thomas said, wait a minute, you talk about you want to represent diversity. That's why the flags are about. Aren't Christians part of the diversity of Boston? And why would you exclude them? I think that's the real driving reason, which is why they made up this policy, by the way, that you can't have religious displays or inappropriate or discriminatory displays after they denied the Christian flag. So much for diversity at NBC and, of course, in Boston.
Right. So diversity inclusion does not apply to Christians across the board.
And, unless they want to weaponize it against us.
Unless to weaponize against us. We're just always left out. And then finally, as everyone's probably aware, today is the March for Life.
Right.
Very big day, and hopefully a couple of our viewers were able to get out there and show support for this important cause. But you had a very interesting piece this week on looking at not just Roe v. Wade as sort of the origin of this, but actually tracing it back into the Rockefellers.
Right. It was actually 50 years ago, back in 1972, that the Rockefellers completed a commission report on population growth that President Nixon asked them to do in 1969. It was stacked with pro-abortion people. The Rockefeller Foundation, this is the WASP elite. They've always believed that the answer to the urban problem is abortion. All right, we know what that means, okay? And if you have any doubt about what that means, is the Rockefeller Foundation is the ones that have been the most consistent supporter of Planned Parenthood all these years. 86% of the clinics are in black neighborhoods, okay? There's a reason for that. The founder of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, while she wasn't pro-abortion, some people think she was. Now, she was in favor of birth control in a radical sense and sterilization. She, of course, was a notorious white supremacist. She hated black people. And the Rockefellers picked up on that in a more benign way, and they set the stage, teeing it up for Roe v. Wade. And then, of course, we have the situation on the eve of the March for Life. Catholics for Choice, an anti-Catholic outfit. It's not an organization. They don't have any members.
No.
They're funded by the Ford Foundation, as well as George Soros, the Hewlett-Packard, and, of course, Warren Buffett's group, the Susan Thompson Buffett Foundation. They're the ones who keep them alive. They had an assault, basically, at the Basilica of the National Shrine in D.C. on the eve of the March for Life, projecting with a screen up on the Basilica all these pro-abortion messages. That's what these people are made of. Now, the media did not cover what the attack on Catholics, and they're not going to cover with any great extent the throngs who show up at the March for Life. So this is what we're stuck with, people. You've got the establishment here, the Ford Foundation doing today what the Rockefeller Foundation set them up to do on abortion. You've got, for that matter, NBC, part of the establishment, funding the attacks through SNL on Roman Catholics. You got the Biden administration.
Right.
You can't get much more part of the ruling class than that, ripping at Catholics and departing from Catholic teachings over and over and over again. Yeah, you put the whole thing together and you begin to see the Boston elites working against Christians. It's the ruling class, people. It's not just those on the left. They may have gotten their ideas from those on the left. But the ideas of the left have percolated up, and now the establishment is full-throated in favor of the most nefarious attacks on Catholics. It's a pretty scary story.
Yes, it is. So, if you are interested in any of these stories, be sure to look in the link below. We'll have links there. And also, check out our website, catholicleague.org. You can find that and everything else and great ways that you can get involved. And again, if you are enjoying these, please be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you very much.